Aloha! What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Omens. Let me just make sure you guys can hear me. Oh, it looks like you can. Sweet. Got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. What's up, everybody in the live chat? Good to see everyone. Sorry I was a little bit late. My dog had to use the bathroom real quick, so I had to walk her real fast. And let's jump into viewer submissions. Let's check some stuff out that you guys have sent over my way. Let's see. We got... Boom. This first one. Whew, I'm out of breath because I had to run downstairs and go walk the dog real quick. All right. This first one comes from Christopher out of Des Moines, who shared some of those interesting auroras. Look, see, here's another bird formation. See how it kind of makes a bird shape up there? Here's another one from Christopher. Thank you so much, Christopher, for sharing your awesome aurora pictures. I posted something talking about how, man, it was like 4 years ago. People were asking me, what's this going to look like in the future? And I'm like, the Aurora Borealis is going to flip out and it's going to spread out. But yet we haven't seen anything yet. Just wait. Like people are comparing this last little flux, which is what it is. It's a electromagnetic flux from the Earth, not from the sun. They're comparing that to the Carrington event. I'm like, nah, you just wait. When your electronics are shocking you and, there's power outages the world across and people are flipping out and that'll be comparable to what happened during the Carrington event. Let's see. Next up, thank you so much, Christopher, for these ones. Oh, I wanted to share this one again because I saw this last night here in Colorado. A lot of people are starting to see these fireballs. Notice the color too, right? Last night I walked outside. I saw two of these in a row. And I live in Colorado. Notice how it's like that cyan, greenish, bluish color. Also notice how it slows down once it gets closer. You have to imagine if this is electrical in nature and not a rock falling at free fall speed. If it's a rock, it's not going to slow down. Okay. I'm not buying whatever excuse they're trying to sell to me. If it's a rock, it's going to look like a rock, and it's going to look like a rock that's falling down and smashing into the ground, not slowing down like that. Yeah, if it's electromagnetic in nature, you have to imagine it's traveling through different layers of gases that are up there in the air. And those gases ionize, and that represents the colors that we see. So you can tell what gases it's going through by the color of the fireball, right? This one was sent in by Kimberly F out of Mississippi. Thank you, Kimberly. She was noticing that these are weird striations in the clouds up here. Lots of weird clouds going on, but look at this sun. I wonder how far into the sun I can get. I want to show you this point of focus. When I say point of focus, some people have asked me, what do you mean when you say point of focus? I mean this. This is the point of focus up there in the sky, I believe. Look, it's pure white. That's pure white. The sun is no longer yellow. Okay, that's fiction now. Howard White, hey, thanks for your donation. Super appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Yeah, a yellow sun is a thing of the past. An orange sun, definitely. A red sun, that's because we're going through a color spectrum shift. The point of focus that's up there in the sky, when it gets more focused and more focused and more focused, it gets hotter and hotter, and therefore, because it's a light, it goes through a color spectrum shift from red to orange to yellow to yellowish white to whitish blue to blue, and then eventually to just a blue ring, a dark blue ring in the sky with just darkness in the middle of it. All right, I just want to point that out. This was sent in to me by Kimberly. I think her brother or someone in Nashville saw these weird hailstones that were falling, so he collected them and put them in the freezer, which I thought was a cool idea. I'll probably do that next time we have some. Extreme weather will follow these fluctuations in the electromagnetic field. As the Earth goes into flux, so will everything else. So will we. So will all of the energy, so will the animals, so will the plants, so will the weather. These are omens. If we look around and recognize the very quick changes that are happening in our world and the norms that are no longer normal, Everything's abnormal. That's the new normal, is abnormal. That's a fluctuation. That's a flux in energy. It's going into flux. It's changing. The currents are all changing and going in different places. So we recognize those changes as omens, as signs of things that are changing, which reflect what's happening energetically, right? Which lead up to an apocalyptic event. These are really, really cool. I like these, and I like the idea of putting the hailstones in the freezer. I've seen some huge ones. My friend Michael out of Steamboat Springs, Michael and family, sent me this one of these giant moths, huge bugs, right? The size of birds, which is indicative of the omen of gigantic insects. If you study the huge flora and fauna, they call it megafauna. Fauna is just a fancy word for animal. Flora is a fancy word for flower or plant. So flora and fauna. The megafauna during the Ice Age times or whatnot, you know, academics will say it's like 10,000 years ago, etc. Everything was gigantic. Gigantism. The insects were especially gigantic. And the reason being is because, well, there's a few reasons, but one of those main reasons is because the Earth erupted oxygen. There was a huge oxidation event, right? And a huge oxidation event, right? Well, that oxygen was produced by the Earth. It ionized. We get these huge pillars and sky beams of plasma that shoot up, terrestrial beams of plasma that shoot up into the sky. People depicted those in many different ways, interpreted them through their perception filters, drew them, carved them out, experienced them, wrote stories about them, developed religions and whatnot. This one too. Oh, Howard, thanks a lot. Howard, appreciate you. Boom. This one too, these red clouds with electricity. Very much reminiscent of Stranger Things, right? Which I just posted some cool Stranger Things stuff on my Instagram. If you want to check it out, you can. Yeah, my Instagram's more like a laid back, just me being me, I guess. It's not so professional as my YouTube channel aspires to be, I guess. But anyways, it's a fun time. This is an omen because the sky will turn red. Okay, well, we go through these color spectrum shifts. Right now, we have that blinding white hot point of focus up there that we talked about, which gives rise to a multitude of different colors, right? All those different colors pass through, or that light, that white light passes through and gives birth to all of these different, just plethora of all the colors, every color imaginable, and even more so. And then eventually a blending of all of those colors, which gives us this, you know, the signs and the omens of things that look chromatic or opalescent or pearlescent, very shining, shimmery, rainbowish colors. That's the last colors to be prevalent before the reset comes and everything is reset, including the color spectrum that we experience, that we take for granted. That will be reset to one color. It'll go back to monochrome. And, you know, there's ways that you can figure out, and I share with people, you know, what I believe those colors are to begin with. Let's see. I think that was the last one for viewer submissions. Thanks a lot, Michael. You're always sending me the best stuff. Super appreciate you. All right, let's switch up. Let's switch gears and go over to our little headlines. Is that it? Yes. All right, boom. Let's go over to our headlines. High five. Everybody in the chat. Good to see everybody. Let's switch over to the first things first. Singapore Airlines flight experiences. Singapore Airlines flight experiences severe turbulence, killing one. This is one of the ways. This is a dangerous time for everything. Okay, we shift on that pendulum from extreme to extreme. When you get to the extreme times, which is at the beginning and the end of the cycle that the Earth goes through electromagnetically, those are the extremes. So we have extremes, which all become normal, right? We become used to them. But everything is extreme, and therefore everything becomes dangerous. People get used to it, but it's a very dangerous time to fly. It's dangerous to do a lot of stuff, but it's especially dangerous to fly up in the atmosphere where you have all of this turbulence and all of these currents that are changing directions, that are getting stronger. Imagine, let's say I'm correct, and that the focal point that people call the sun up there in the sky is getting hotter and more focused, which shortens daylight, which is the shortening of days. it's going to heat up the surrounding atmosphere even more than it used to be, and that atmosphere will expand, and it'll cause wakes and strong winds and stuff that trail behind the path that the sun takes and circles above us. So the winds will get stronger, the weather systems will get stronger. This says a Boeing 777 airplane encountered severe turbulence on Tuesday, killing one passenger and injuring others. I had some viewers send me pictures of, the people inside the airplane. Some had like bloody noses and stuff. If you've ever been in an airplane and it goes through a little bit of turbulence, it can be pretty scary. This plane just dropped 6,000 feet in about 3 minutes. One person died. Yeah, not a good time for flying these days. Unfortunately. Remember we saw the doors just flew right off of those other 2 plane flights and stuff. Crazy stuff. All right, next up. A rancher. Now this is in my backyard. A rancher and 34 cattle were killed by the same lightning strike in Colorado. It hit them all. One lightning bolt. When electricity comes down, it spreads out. Mike Morgan, 51, died when lightning hit his trailer on May 25th while he was feeding about 100 cattle. So the lightning came down out of the sky and pretty much electrocuted to death him and half of his whole herd of cattle. 34 of his cattle have been killed by a single lightning strike, according to reports. So this reminded me. I was thinking, well, it's too bad his cattle didn't have the proper protective gear like they did in the Middle Ages for their horses. So I thought I would share that with you all. Let's take a look at medieval horse armor. Okay, I just want to switch gears and shift our modes of thought. Okay, people are so used to these types of images that they take them for granted. Oh, that's just a knight riding out into battle during war times. He was the most skilled fighter. He had the best armor on, and he was going to war. They even put armor on his horse. They even put a little spike on the horse's head here so it could headbutt the bad guys and impale people, I guess? No, that's not what this was for. None of this. We've been lied to about so many things. But none of this adds up. None of this medieval storyline of academic explanations for why things exist make any kind of sense when held up to scrutiny, when questioned, right? This guy right here can't see. Look at him. Okay, just common sense. It doesn't take any type of investigation. It doesn't take any type of research or, a very high intellect to know and put yourself in his perspective. He can't see. This guy has a very small, limited perspective right in front of him, like a tiny little visor. He's not going to war. Okay, I know he's not going to war. When I was in the Marine Corps, we had to like practice with gas masks on. I'm like, Jesus, I hope I never have to actually fight anyone in a gas mask. I mean, they have big old goggles or whatever, but still, you can't see out of your peripheral. You got to turn your whole head like it's Halloween. There's no way that these were elite fighters that were sent out in war times. Why are they putting all of this armor on the horse? Let's take another look at another picture here. Here's some more medieval horse armor. Some people would say, oh, well, it's decorative. Why do you care about decorating when you're going to war? Why does anyone give a crap? It's not decorative. It was purposeful. It was practical at a certain point in time. Once it lost its practicality because the conditions of our world changed, it became traditional. It became, it just became something that people continued on that tradition. But this is not to try to make your horse look like a unicorn or anything. They put metal on medieval horses, just like they put metal on medieval people that were explorers that went out into strange lands where the atmospheric conditions were electrically charged. And they wanted to make sure that if they were hit by lightning, like the Colorado man, right, and his 34 cattle, that them and their horses would stay safe. So they put metal on them so that lightning would hit and then follow the path of the metal and then go through down into the ground and ground itself. This little point right here is a lightning rod. used so that the positive energy that comes up through the horse goes out of that rod and then actually dissipates all of the negative electrical charge that may be in front of it whenever it's running at fast speeds through an electrically charged environment and developing static electricity, which is the exact same reason why motorcycles riders wore leather and little metal spikes and nubs and stuff all over their leather outfits. It's not because they were just tough and that was like their motorcycle gang leather armor or some crap. Okay, I know that's what it turned into, like, oh, leather represents bad boys and this and that, but it was practical. All those spikes all over the leather stuff, you know, with motorcycle riders, it would be practical under those conditions, right? Under conditions where the atmosphere is more electrically charged, or when you're flying through the atmosphere and you're developing a lot of static electricity, you don't want to get shocked. Look at this guy. Quite actually a stormtrooper with a slit in his visor. Let me make that even bigger. Hold on. We'll look at the horse here in a second. Look at that. You see that? This is a stormtrooper helmet. They call them the stormtroopers, which is where this comes from. These are real helmets from, you know, from Antiquity. Because this is what they wore out during the storm, the electrical storm. Hold on, let me check the chat, make sure you guys can still hear me. Okay, good. Let's see, where was I? Let me get back here. Oh yeah, stormtrooper hat, right? Now, this guy who has a slit in his visor, who can't see anything, is supposed to be this elite armor. See these other guys with their little pointed heads and stuff like that? Now look at the horse, decked out in armor. Look at his shoes. Look at this shoes. Hold on, let me move this out of the way. Look at those shoes. Have you ever put on clown feet or clown shoes? Or like when you were a kid, put on your father or your mother's shoes and they're way too long and they're way too big and it's real difficult to walk. Have you ever tried to walk around in a scuba flippers? It's difficult to even move. This is supposed to be an elite fighter? At war, during war times? No. This was to keep the static electricity off of him. And then these spurs are also questionable. I've always questioned spurs. People are going to make their horse go faster by stabbing it in its stomach. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? I understand like a little gentle, you know, giddy up or whatever. But this whole, I think that started off to allow the electricity when it comes down to branch out or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, these little elven boots here, you're not fighting anybody in that. Don't tell me that's to kick a hole in somebody or anything, okay? This guy's not going to be able to walk, you know? It's very questionable. Anyways, they put the whole horse in armor. They put a little lightning rod in the front of the horse. Let's check out some more. How about this one? You can see right behind me, right up here. Right, that's a lightning rod or a lightning rod, and the way that works is it does not attract electricity. What it does is it helps to dispel electricity or electrons, because the positive force comes up through the earth. The positive energy comes up and then it shoots out of that metallic tip, and that those protons, the positive energy goes out. And they neutralize any negative charge that's built up in the area. Can it still hit it? Yes, it can, but it lowers the likelihood of anyone being hit by an electrical zapping, right? Anyways, they put all this metal on their horses. Is it to protect the horse during battle? You know, in medieval times, you know, from I don't know, sticks and axes and whatever. Could be. I very much doubt it, right? Once this dude gets knocked off that horse, he's done. Okay. Now, also take a look at here. He's wearing this little pike thing. I mean, has this, what do you call that? Lance, right? Lances were used to fight dragons, which is plasma or electricity, essentially, right? So the metallic lance, right? Somebody charges at a bunch of electricity, and in the same manner, that positive energy goes through the tip of the lance, disperses the electrical serpent or whatnot, and kills the dragon. Hold on, is that? Yeah, well, let me check out this next picture. All right, so this is actually a clip from the movie A Knight's Tale, where they show you the knights not in war. They don't fight anybody in a war, okay? The knights just joust each other. They just turned it into a sport because after a while there was really no need for it any longer, and they didn't want to just, you know, the people enjoyed the knights or whatever. They were famed and celebrated explorers. Here's the horse. Here's the dude holding on to this big lance, right? That the dude can't see. He definitely can't see out of his peripheral if he looks to his left, right? So if he falls off his horse, if you're on the left, he can't even see you. Right? This is not for battle whatsoever. Neither is this. This is just a huge lightning rod that people held onto to fight the serpent or whatever. This is ill-effective. People were taught that, oh, this was all, it was mostly mental. Like they were just seeing, when you see a knight coming at you and he's got a huge lance and he's charging real fast. Okay, well, that's his one hit. That's one hit that he gets, one chance. And in the movie, they make it very clear how difficult that actually was to hold that big, heavy object, metallic if it was, and then aim it right at a certain location to get that kill shot. And then oftentimes it just breaks afterwards anyways, or knocks the knight off of the horse. And then guess what? You're just on your back like a turtle. You're done. You're stuck. That's it. Okay, nobody's afraid of this guy in war. These were explorers. They went and discovered new places, specifically places of power or electrically charged, you know, areas or whatever. And they would walk around holding these up in the air so that lightning didn't come down and strike their whole area. They would put they put metal on the horse to protect the horse. This was not for wartime fighting to protect the horse. Oh, just a really strong horse so that they can't hit it with a sword or whatever. Let me show you some modern examples. They still use horses in wartime during World War I and World War II. Let's take a look at some pictures. Tell me if you see any armor on horses during a time when men had guns and bullets and could easily just shoot your horse down and kill it, and then you fall off of it. Where's their metal? Freight train, good to see you, Freight train. There's another picture. Looks like World War I. That's 1941. Anyways, you see the cavalry. They used horses during World War I and World War II. Okay. Do you see any metal? Do you see any freaking armor on the horses in times when they had guns to shoot? They could easily just shoot your horse, you know, and bring it down or whatever. Here's another one. There's just no armor. No armor on the horse or whatsoever at all. And they used to put spikes on these helmets too, by the way. Right? These little metal helmets. Why do they wear those metal helmets? It's so stupid. I used to wear this huge Kevlar helmet. It's so awkward. It's so heavy and stuff. And it's hard to keep it strapped in nice and tight and stuff. It's terrible. It's because people forgot the original use of it. It was a stormtrooper helmet. It was really heavy and metallic. It used to have a spike on the top of it, acting as another lightning rod to keep electricity away. Anyways, my point is, during a time of advanced weaponry and bullets and warfare and Gatling guns and stuff, where's all the metallic bulletproof armor for the horses? They had it during the Middle Ages for what? Arrows and swords and whatever. Something's wrong with the story. Something's wrong with what we've been taught and told and what people have assumed. It doesn't add up. Here's another one. During wartime. This is during the last 100 years. There's people standing, look at the horse, just wide open for a shot. You know what I mean? People standing on their horses, shooting, no armor on the horse. Why? Because this is a time when all of that electricity had dissipated from the atmosphere. So they ended up removing those little spikes on their helmet. Bradley Francis, good to see you. They removed those spikes on their helmets. They removed all their metal. They removed the metal on their horses. They were no longer explorers. These are grunts in the military. How about going back to Gettysburg, right? How about any of those times? No. Still, you don't see people putting armor on their horses during Gettysburg battles when people still had revolvers and guns and stuff going into war to protect their horses. You would think they would want to, right? If they did it in the Middle Ages to protect against spears and swords or whatever. No, I'm telling you, it's not a good strategy to just go rushing in to send all of your useful animals, right? Horses and your explorers and all of their very expensive, armor, which is to protect against electricity, off into, just to smash through the first line of defense. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? It's not useful. And if you look it up on the internet, mostly people will say, well, it was mostly like a scare tactic. They got in their heads because they just looked intimidating or whatever. It's not useful. You get one shot with your lance. Okay? One. That's it. And all they had to do really was just cut the horse's legs with a sword or something. But then people make excuse for that and be like, oh, it was really difficult. The horses were going so fast. It's like, no, it's not useful. Look at this. This is not World War One. This is a Revolutionary War or something, right? Civil War. And they have no armor on their horses at all. They don't wear any metal themselves. You would think they would. There's bullets flying around all over the place. You get one of those little lead balls lodged in you. That's it. You know what I mean? But even then, they didn't do it. Next up, fish are adapting to weightlessness on the Chinese space station. Imagine that. Fish adapting to weightlessness. I asked ChatGPT, how much does a live fish floating around in the ocean, in the water, how much does it weigh? And I swear ChatGPT made this long attempt to just try to talk in circles about how much a fish weighs underwater or whatever. I'm like, you're not thinking clearly. I'm typing back. Fish weighs nothing when it's floating in the water. That's what the word float pretty much means. Okay, you're weightless. You don't weigh anything. And it's like, oh yeah, but there's like it's another word for like how much it weighs. Like if you don't take into consideration the buoyancy and you take that out and then gravity and this and that. I'm like, no, you're wrong, ChatGPT, robot, AI. It doesn't weigh anything. The fish are adapting to weightlessness. Yeah, no kidding. Because that's how they live. They are weightless. In space. That's so funny. Anyways, which leads us into our next topic. How should countries deal with falling birth rates? How should you deal with that? This is something that's hardly ever on the news, and I've been talking about it for years. I'm telling you right now, and I learned this from watching movies. Oh my God, that's where you get your information from? Oh man, I unsubscribe. Pow. Yes, I get my information from everywhere, from all over. A wise man can regard an apple for an hour and learn the mysteries of the universe. Okay, it doesn't matter what it is. How should countries deal with falling birth rates? Did you know this was happening? Did you know that birth rates are falling all over the place? The article says the first thing you need to know about the so-called demographic time bomb facing countries such as the UK and the US is never call it that. Whatever you do, don't call it a time bomb, a demographic time bomb. With birth rates continuing to decline in both nations, it is tempting to use the time bomb term. However, it's greatly disliked by demographers, the experts that study population change. Number one, you can always tell those types of people that list stuff. Like, or they say first off instead of first of all, which is what it is. Number one, I hate that. Number two, I hate that even more. You know what I mean? Just certain people just list shit. Number one, I hate that phrase, says Sarah Harper, professor of gerontology, the study of impact of aging, blah, 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 blah. I don't think there is a demographic time bomb. It's a part of the demographic transition. Oh, okay. It's a demographic transition from a bunch of people to less people. Okay, whatever. It's a demographic time bomb. Now that they don't like that term, I'm going to use it all the time. I swear. Anyways, what am I talking about? Why are global and U.S. fertility rates plummeting? Another recent article. You're going to see this pop up more because people are going to wait until it's too late. They're going to wait until it's in their face and like they're starting to go, oh, this is actually a huge problem, right? The global fertility rate has fallen from 5 births per woman in 1950. Oh, look at that. So that's who gives birth to, other humans. In 1950 to 2.3 in 2021, and even lower in the United States, partly due, now listen to their explanation, to the cost of child rearing and shifts in priorities. This is, what's that movie? Idiocracy. This is, first of all, it's retarded and stupid. Okay. Oh, well, the reason we're not having children, oh my God. They act like every child is like a purposeful planned event. Like, you know, let's set out all of the things we need to make a child tonight. Oh my God. How often does that actually happen? Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying, you know, okay. Partly due to the cost of child rearing and shifts in priorities. You know, oh, I'm sorry. I cannot have sex with you tonight. I would like to go to college first. Get out of here. Listen, the population is in decline because most of the people in the world are poisoning themselves. Mother Earth is retracted all of the energy back into herself. So nature is also highly to blame for what's happening because it's a natural part of the flux that we're going through. But humans aren't helping by poisoning yourselves and, you know, dumbing yourselves down and putting yourselves in constant dangerous situations and all of the other things. There's like a million things that I could list off that contribute to the population, the fertility rates declining. Here's a chart. If you're a visual person like I am, let's check out a chart. Annual U.S. total fertility rate from only 1965 to 2023. If you go back to like 1900 and before, it was even more. People had way more babies. Watch this. Now you see this little dotted line? That's how much it has to be in order for a nation to carry on before it just will start disappearing. I can't even show you the rest of it. That's how low it goes. There it is. And then behind me, hold on, let me move myself here. Check it out. That's called the replacement rate. Look how low it is. I have to make it even smaller so you can see. 1.62 as of 2023, last year. Let's check out another one here. Let me jump. Well, I'll stay over here. Anyways, way over here. Boom. 1950, 1955. Africa's doing good. Rwanda, Kenya, Iran. I mean, even those countries, though, it's declining, right? And then it goes straight for a while. And then look at down here. Japan, Norway, the United States is pretty much rock bottom, right? All right. Now we're going to go to the CIA website. Did you know the CIA cares about this? Yeah, they keep track of this. They have a whole thing on their website, cia.gov, right there. That's dedicated to the world's population in decline. I'm so excited. I love it. I love it. I can't wait till people are freaking out more about it. Anyways, what does this say? What does this say? Let's read what it says here on the CIA's website. This entry gives a figure for the average number of children that would be born per woman if all women lived to the end of their childbearing years and bore children according to the given fertility rate at each age. The total fertility rate, TFR, is a more direct measure of the level of fertility than the crude birth rate, since it refers to births per woman. This indicator shows the potential for population change in the country. A rate of 2 children per woman is considered the replacement rate for population. 2 per woman. I did my part, resulting in relative stability in terms of total numbers. Yeah, that means before it becomes dangerous and a nation will just lose its own people. A nation kills itself, basically. Rates above 2 children indicate populations growing in size, right? Higher rates also indicate difficulties for families in some situation to feed and educate their children. Get out of here, man. Dude, my great-grandparents had like 12 kids. Yeah, I mean, you know, they had to figure it out, but they figured it out. They made it happen. As you know, children don't just starve to death. It's not like there's no water, there's no food, there's no place for them to sleep. Yeah, there's always those things, okay? I mean, typically, okay? There's exceptions and stuff. Now, Afghanistan, they show you how many it is right now. Afghanistan's at the top of the charts. 4.43 children per woman. Good job, Afghanistan. But that's boring. Let's check out our neck of the woods, shall we? Let's look. This is still the CIA's website. By the way, they have a huge page on there that they're hiring right now. Have fun with that. All right, next up, let's see. Where's the United States? Hold on, let me make this smaller. I want to check out. I'm going to check out the UK and then the United States. What it currently is. Let's see. Mexico. Ooh, Mexico is 1.9. Remember, if you're under 2, you're screwed. If you're under 2 in your country, your population is inevitably going to eradicate itself. Okay, in a very short time. I'll show you. I did the math on it, or I had a computer do the math. Let's see. Where's the United States? Canada, 1.8. Look at that. Where is it? I'm in the way. 1.8 in Canada currently, right now. You're done, Canada. That's it. That's it for you. Where's the United States? Hold on. United States. 1.84. You're screwed. All of us here in the United States, that's it. Once it goes below 2, it just keeps on dropping. Where's the United Kingdom? Can I do that one? Do they have that? Kingdom. The UK? I don't know. Hold on. Let me just, there's like another way to look it up here. Somewhere. Where is it? Is it this one? Here we go. Let's go U for UK. Let's see. Oh, United Kingdom, 1.63 per woman in 2024. There we go. Oh, that takes me to a different website. I don't want that. Anyways, yes, hold on. Let's go back to United Kingdom. United Kingdom, 1.6. You're screwed. That's it. You're done. Okay. It just goes down and down and down. Now check this out. Let's switch gears. I asked ChatGPT. Where's my conversation? It's just blank. The fudge. There we go. All right. Here we go. Now, I did all the math. Okay, I had to do all the math. I'm like, you know, without any X factors, just if we continue on this trajectory, what's the math? How long is it going to be before these countries are done and they have no population at all? And that's no population at all, right? So check this out. ChatGPT says, as you can see, based off all this ridiculous math it did, the population continues to decline gradually. It takes about 10 generations for the population to drop below 1, assuming these calculations are correct. So it would take approximately 250 years, assuming a generation length of 25 years, for the population to reach negligible levels with a replacement rate of 1.5. Which is where the UK and United States pretty much are right now. So 250 years, and that's not considering any other contributing factors. It's actually sooner than that. So I'd say like within the next, I'll be generous and say 100 years. Okay, populations are just going to become so dangerous. There's countries out there right now, especially like in I believe it's the Philippines and stuff, that are giving away prizes, incentives if you do give birth. Listen, they're trying to make it sound like people are choosing not to have children. That's not the case. Oh, well, I'm really busy right now. I don't know if I can, impregnate you. Have you ever heard anyone say that? Ever? Like, I'm sure it happens, but they can't. They're infertile. That's what's happening. They're infertile. They're shooting blanks. It's not working. It's a problem genetically. Mother Earth has revoked your privileges, okay, for being bad, okay, immoral, bad, base, disgusting, toxic, putrid. I don't know what other words to use, but come on. Take some accountability, humans. Not all of you, right? You know who I'm talking about. All right, next up. Hundreds of stars have vanished without a trace. The stars are disappearing now, right? Let me show you a picture. Bam. At least 100 stars have vanished without credible explanation. New observations could explain what happened. I'm going to explain to you what happened. Okay, I'm going to give you my theory, which is stars are points of focus, just like the sun that I showed you earlier, and they come from instabilities in the firmament or the dome. On the other side of that firmament is plasma, right? There's cosmic rays or whatever you want to call it. It's plasma, it's light. That light passes through the firmament, which is made of not glass, but ice, passes through it, right? When it hits the instabilities, it creates, like, for example, if it hits, there's domes, and there's inverted domes, and there's regular domes, all right? I'm just going to say this really simply. The stars are created whenever light passes through a dome, not a crater, but a dome, on the dome, right? So boom, it hits it, it makes a focal point just like the sun, but it's small and it's way far away. So there are little tiny lights in the sky. Now, whenever you have that, the plasma that's outside of the firmament, it's spinning around, it's spiraling, as all things do, and it's moving downward, wrapping around the world. Okay, so it's spiraling, moving downward, and it's pulsating. Okay, pulsating as it spirals and spins and moves downward and wraps around the firmament. As it pulsates, it goes through sequences, right, which we call ages or eons. One age, it will pulsate and it will go into flux, and it'll get larger and larger and larger until it finally just goes into flux all over the place. That brings about our wintertime apocalypse. Okay. On the other side of that pendulum, it pulsates and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and therefore more focused, which is what we're experiencing now. So all the light on our side will be brighter and hotter and more intense and focused, and daytime will be shorter, etc. Anyways, as it pulsates and contracts through that cycle where it gets shorter and shorter, less light is hitting the places where it used to hit to create stars. You have to have the light actually hit those areas, those little instabilities in the firmament, in order to get these stars. Those stars will start disappearing and no longer being seen because those contractions are getting smaller and smaller as we go into, it'll eventually get real tiny and then go into flux again. Anyways, so that's why stars are disappearing. Oh yeah, of course, the king. The king. He's not my king. I don't do kings. Sorry. I don't even do the presidents and stuff like that, okay? I don't care at all. I'm unimpressed. That's a painting of some guy. You want to see which guy? That guy. Some old man. This old man right here. Okay, I don't even care. I have the title of, see, here in America, you know what's crazy? On the news, they'll be like, yeah, King Charles and King this and His Majesty and blah, blah. It's like, what? If I go to court, I'm a lord in Scotland. I own land in Scotland. Okay, it's fun. I did it just so I can get the certificate. I have a certificate right over here on the wall. Anyway, if I go to court, not one judge is going to say Lord Jason and refer to me by my legal name and call me Lord. They won't do that, I swear. They'll call me Mr., which is short for master, but they won't call me master. It's so messed up. People are stupid. Anyways, let's talk about this portrait of the king. Okay? King. I can't believe you guys have that. I can't believe we have presidents, though. So, you know, it's the same boat. A president is a king. Okay? I don't know why they even changed it. Anyways. Oh, no, there's checks and balances. No, there's not. It's all garbage. It's all falsified. Okay? All those little branches of government or mind control or whatever, it does not work the way you think it works. There's no checks and balances. There is no fairness to anything. Okay. You got people who are rulers. They rule. Okay. That doesn't mean that they are righteous. It means that they are your owners. They have kidnapped entire generations and bred them within their walls. Anyways, I don't do all that king business. Okay. You want to call me Lord? Sweet, fine. You want to call me Master? Master J? All right, I'm cool with that. I think it sounds cool. But I won't own up to it. I'm not anyone's master, except myself. I'm master of me. Anyways, this picture, it's all red, right? Symbolic of the change, the shift that we go into a red sky, right? These people intend to rule. They're going to, listen, the elite, some of them are going to blast off when the sky opens, and they're going to escape the apocalypse. They're going to try to leave the world. Others have decided, no, we're staying here. Okay, we're going to prepare down here, and we're going to try to set ourselves up and our families as best as we can to continue our course of action, to continue our power and our rule or whatever. That's the red sky that we'll go into. Remember I said it's monochrome, right? Remember I said we shift from a lot of colors and everything to monochrome and one color, the golden age, the red sky, etc. And then I said etc. Some people were counting how many times I said etc. the other day. That's funny. Butterfly, right? There it is right there. That's the change. That's the shift. It's evident to me, okay? Creepy picture and stuff. Real creepy. Anyways, I don't know. I don't do all that king business. I don't do all that decorating your house in gold-plated pillars and whatever. Illuminati pyramid triangles, or I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it's all symbolic, okay, of an ancient time that's been long forgotten. This dude. Anyways, what's else? What else? Is that it? No, I got one more. Oh, that's right. We're going to talk about Terrence Howard. This dude. This dude behind me. High five. It's Terrence Howard. And his nemesis now. This guy over here is the nemesis of any independent intellectual on the planet. Neil deGrasse Tyson. This guy. First let me jump in. Round one. Okay. That guy is a mascot. So have you ever been to a high school football game and there's some big cartoonish character with a big head, maybe might do a backflip and juggles for the audience and stuff? That's him. Okay? I don't care about credentials. I don't care about paperwork. I don't care what kind of trinkets the Wizard of Oz gave you. He is a mascot. Okay? He plays a role to represent science, to represent intellectuals and what is intellectual and what is accepted and stamped by the frickin' king, basically, as being factual, empirical, undeniable. Well, that eradicates philosophy, and I'm a philosopher. So I'm on Terrence Howard's side over here so far. Now, there's this big deal, okay? He's all pissed off because he's very mathematically inclined, okay? This guy seems more balanced. I listened to most of like his interview on Joe Rogan. I loved it. I thought it was great. I vibed with all kinds of stuff that he was talking about. I've myself talked about many of the things that he's discussing and talking about, including where he gets the information from and stuff. I want to talk about this in the middle, though. 1 × 1 = 1. This guy over here, very left brain, has a big fat problem with that. Math can never be wrong. Math is infallible. Okay. Let's expand our minds for just a quick second, okay? Terrence also makes the point of this. Multiplication is to multiply or to make more of, right? So if you have, this is the simplicity of it, okay? It doesn't require paragraphs and books of explanations. If you have 1 and then you multiply it, you'll have more than 1. That's the end. That's the mic has, let me drop this mic. That's it. Okay. Now let me go a bit further into that. All right. If there's no need to write this out as an equation, all you need to do is write 1. Okay. You can't multiply 1 and still have 1. I shouldn't say you can't, okay? But anyways, that's the simplicity behind it, all right? And then there's all kinds of exceptions to traditional math. If I have an apple and I split it into 2, now I have 2. However, I have 1/2 and 1/2, 2, which equals 1 still. You just put it right back together. It's still 1, right? This goes all the way back. Wait, who was that? I was distracted. Who was that? I missed that. I don't know who the notification was for. I'm so sorry. Oh, here we go. That was Nikita. Oh, nice to see you. Thank you, Nikita. All right, let me get back to the little picture. Oh, I'll talk about him in a second. All right, so this is Brahma. And in the Hindu creation epic, okay, the creation story. In the beginning, there was 1. That 1 was infinite, all things everywhere. There could not be anything outside of that one thing. Otherwise, there would not be just one. There would be two or more or whatever, right? So all things are connected, and it still is today, okay? In the beginning was that. This is just a cartoon, okay? But it represents a truth. Everything being connected. There was this character, this god named Brahma, okay? Brahma decided to create. In order to create, Brahma had to split Brahma's self, which cannot be done because Brahma cannot be split because Brahma is all. Okay, in order to split, you'd have to create space or separation or whatever, but that's an impossibility. So it has to be an illusion. It has to be a trick. Brahma has to pretend that Brahma has split itself into two. Cannot be done, but Brahma can believe it into existence or perceived existence. Brahma can make something real by changing Brahma's perception of anything, which still stands true today. So Brahma split into two, which really was an illusion. There was not two, there was still one. This is all in Brahma's mind. Those Brahmas, okay, male and female, etc. This is where you get the electric universe being birthed into existence. Those Brahmas split themselves into two more, and into two more, and into two more, and it continued and continued and continued. And we have all of these multiverses, or what I call fractal verses, because it's holographic, it's fractal. It's all the same exact one. It's all the same coding. Pardon me. Anyways, so one, right? You have, let me get back to this math picture. Hold on. So, everything is connected, okay? If I have one apple and then I add another apple, some people would say that there's two apples. But in reality, I have all of the apples. It just depends on the proximity that they are to me. You know what I mean? There's like billions of apples. So you could say 1 + 1 is still an infinite number because there's billions and billions and billions and trillions and quadrillions and Googles and Googleplexes of apples in the multiverse, and they're all connected because everything is connected. It's all connected through energy. It's all connected through waves and electromagnetics, and there's gases, you know, that come off of the top of a tree. People think that the tree ends at the branches. It doesn't. It continues on. It's breathing. I don't end on, you see this outline silhouette? That's not the end of me. My thoughts, my being is being spoken into this little microphone right now, is traveling all throughout the world and reaching everyone. I'm all over the place right now. You know what I mean? It all depends on perspective. Now, this guy's perspective and the math charts and the periodic table and all that, that helps those types of people to ground themselves and to live at lower levels, which is fine. And I respect that. Okay, there's times when I need to ground myself and live at lower levels. However, some of us rise above occasionally, and we are philosophers. Okay, they're trying to kill philosophy by saying things are empirical. This is a fact. I had a conversation with one guy. I was walking with one guy, and he was really supporting the whole fact. And I'm like, I don't believe in facts. He's like, well, some things are facts. I'm like, name one. He's like, well, the ground we're walking on is solid. I'm like, yeah, until you zoom into it. Why don't you take an electron microscope and look at the ground and tell me how solid it really is? It's like space if you zoom into it. You know what I mean? It's all empty. And like, anyways, it all depends on a person's perspective, right? If you have a higher perspective, it doesn't make sense to like debate with someone whose perspective is down here, okay? It's not beneficial to anybody. What is beneficial is when someone is slightly above or slightly below, very in proximity to one another, one can pull the other down or the other can pull the other up, right? And that's always how it works, right? To be in proximity. Sometimes you have people making huge leaps. That does happen. There's anomalies. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for bringing this to my attention. And I by no means am the type of person to get media and stuff, right? Everyone following all the popular this and that, right? So I think that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about as far as this whole Terran Tower thing. I like how it talks about it. There's no straight lines. That's a good point. There are no straight lines, right? There's nothing. I mean, there's really no curved lines either, because when you get really deep, nothing exists in the way that we think it exists, because it's all one. It's all connected. There is, in order to have like a curve or a bend, you have to curve away from something else. This concept of division is the ultimate trick. It's the ultimate what do you call it? Illusion. Okay. But that's, you know, it all depends on your perspective. Where would you like to approach the discussion? Where would you like to approach the conversation? From one of a very high perspective where you could see much further, or one where you're very low and you're at ground level and things pass by very quickly and stuff, right? Anyways, they're just different perspectives. And that guy over there is a cartoon. Okay. He's a cartoon. I've watched so many of his videos. Him, Bill Nye. There's a whole list of science mascots. Okay. Listen, I'm a scientist. Okay. I'm a wizard. I'm a scientist. I'm a chef. I'm all kinds of things. I wear many hats. I don't need the approval of the king. I don't need the approval of the president. I don't need the approval of some prestigious university, college, or whatnot. I walk my own path. I blaze my trail. And whatever hat I happen to be wearing helps me out, you know, dependent upon what path I take. But anyways, these guys over here are entertainers. They're professional entertainers. And if you listen to them long enough and you're an independent researcher, they start speaking so much gibberish and stuff that doesn't make sense. Like almost everything that these mainstream people talk about, I got to wrap things up, but almost everything they talk about is like, academically speaking, third grade science, third grade experiments, like stuff that you would see in when you know, elementary schools put up little science shows or experiments or whatever, and they get that like that foam core board and they cut it into like 3 sections, and they have some kid that like has like a Play-Doh clay made volcano and he puts baking soda in it, and like that's the kind of crap that's how they speak to people. Okay, those are the types of things that they discuss. They don't want to get too deep like someone over here will. They want to keep it very simple and talk about childlike concepts and stuff that they themselves probably learned in the 3rd grade, right? Going all the way up until high school. I share this story often. When I was in high school, my teachers, most of them, didn't like me, especially those who are in science, any type of biology, chemistry, science, math, okay? They did not really appreciate me thinking outside the box. However, my literary teachers, my English teacher, my French teacher, my acting teachers, right, theater or whatever, they loved me. Imagine that. Anyways, I was in chemistry one day, and the teacher says, "Here, behold, the table of elements. Ah, those are all of the elements. Everything that makes up the entire universe." So I raised my hand, and my question was, how do you know that? Well, some people that taught me everything I know, or I think I know, told me that. And there's people, I guess, out there somewhere who have like found stuff. And I said, okay, well, the bottom 2 rows, aren't those brand new? Didn't they used to not have those bottom 2 rows? And before, like, I don't know, the 50s or whatever, they didn't have those. So they didn't think that those elements existed. So there was probably a teacher back in the 50s that was missing those bottom 2 rows and said, "These are all of the elements that exist in the universe. And he's like, I may not have been as dramatic as I'm making it now, but I made the point. Half the kids in the class, the other drones, were like, like making all these sounds like they're just so annoyed that I would disrupt their flow of receiving information or whatever, right? And I loved it. I got a kick out of throwing a big wrench into that system. And I'm like, listen, we haven't been to the far reaches of infinite space. How do you know there's not more elements that exist, or different ones that exist? Which I believe Terrence was also making a similar point, right? I especially liked how he brought in the vibrational qualities, right? And vibration is sound. It's music. Everything is musical. This is also why I do truth in movies, because The Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion, starts off the entire story of creation with music, with song, or vibration, etc. Anyway, the teacher gave me a big sigh. Okay, fine, with as much disgust he could muster up. These are all the elements that we know of so far. How is that better? And then I was like, no, that's not honest. You said we, and you mean all of humanity, when in reality there's some people that don't even know that chart exists at all. And I'm like, if you personalized it, then it'd be more accurate. Did I get sent to the principal's office that day? I can't remember. There were so many times. There were so many times I was sent to principal's office. Anyways, for thinking outside of the box, being myself. Next up, last but not least, just a fun one. What is this? What is this? Where's my chat? Is this a lobster? Is this seafood? Let me check. And is there anyone out there that looks at this and sees, shellfish? Is there anybody out there that looks at that and can't wait to eat? Right? Let's steam that bad boy up. Anybody? I don't know. My point is, let me just zoom out a bit. How the tree lobster escaped extinction. They call this a tree lobster. They call clear bugs up here on the surface. They name them after ocean creatures. And then they have these ocean bugs that they name after surface creatures. I'm just want to remind everyone, okay? Because like what you put in your body may have an effect. You know, it might. This is a bug. This is an insectoid. People eat these all the time. Especially the ones that live in the ocean and grow to gigantic sizes. They cook them until they turn red. Okay? I'm talking about lobster. I'm talking about shrimp. Okay? These are fleas in the ocean. These are cockroaches in the ocean. These are scorpions that live and have adapted and have survived since the time of the megafauna in the ocean. They're bugs. Red Lobster is a restaurant that serves insects and has one of the highest known cases of people that get disease. They get seafood sicknesses and all that stuff when they eat these nasty insects. You're not supposed to be eating these kinds of insects. I mean, your body tells you that. I'm not saying that because I'm impressing that upon you. I'm not saying that because God says. I'm just saying it's common sense. Your body rejects it. Okay? There's a lot of people that are allergic. There's reasons why people have, I have an allergy to shellfish. No, you don't. You have an allergy to eating insects and bottom feeders that eat crap and piss and decrepit, dying bodies and death and nastiness that are the natural cleansers in this terrarium that we live in. That's why you're allergic. You're not allergic to fish of any kind. You're allergic to bottom-felling, shit-eating, poop-eating, nasty, fucking gross. I'm sorry. Excuse my language. That's what you're allergic to because they're full of disgusting, nasty stuff. And then people just rename it. The governments cook it all up, pull it all out of the ocean, and then they feed that nasty garbage to people and call it a delicacy. I just wanted to remind you all of what you're eating. I'm not saying I'm not judging. I'm not saying, I mean, you can eat whatever you want to eat. Anything you want to eat, whatever. But it might help you out, you know, to be wise about what you're eating and putting in your face. Cool. I enjoyed this presentation. It was a fun one. I'm going to take off. So thanks for joining me during this episode of Omens. And until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
to